talking to him. It was great to commentate a little Game Bread Bare Knuckle back in the day. Hopefully, we'll get on those hot mics very soon. The one, the only, Brendan Schaub. Brendan, what's up, brother?
What's going on, pal? Yeah, man. Hopefully we got a Game Bread coming up. That was so much fun, man.
Yeah, I like that. And I don't know if you're more, if we had more fun commentating or more fun going to Mary Mahoney's, but I don't know which one, you know?
Oh, dude, Mahoney is tough to beat. We did fan questions on Firing the Kid. I think it comes out this week because we're in the transition moving to Austin, right? So we have to bank some assets. So we banked one of fan questions. One of the fan questions was if you're on death row, your last meal. And mine was Mahoney's by far.
Yeah. I'm with you there. I'm with you. The lethal injection, Mahoney's, then the lethal injection. Give it to us. I'm with you, brother.
Give it to me. Dude, that's my favorite restaurant of all time in Biloxi, Mississippi, dude.
It's crazy. Crazy life, man. All right, so much to get into. UFC 314. We saw the Paddy Pimblett show take over Miami, Florida. Volkanovski, is he the greatest featherweight of all time? So much. And before, though, you know this, baseball dads and happy wife, happy life stuff. So before I say anything else about fighting, my wife wanted to ask you. She's like, hey, when is my man Brendan? When is Jerry O'Connell? When is Bravo? When is this happening again? She was a massive fan, brother. When is this happening?
Man, I'll tell you what, that show is Jerry O'Connell, me, I forget the other, Michael Yo, one of the old VJs from MTV. We had that show where we broke down, it's ridiculous to say, but we broke down Real Housewives of all the cities.
Yeah.
And we had Kelly Rippon, all these big stars, and they shot like 5 episodes in New York. But it came out right around the Me Too movement, like right when that was hot. So Bravo was like, bro, we can't have a panel of 4 dudes breaking down a female show. So it was just bad timing, man.
Dude,
you know, that's all it was.
I know. It's I thought it was classic. It's so funny. Like I said, my brother, massive fan of yours. I saw you long ago. He brings you up all the time. And my wife, same thing. She doesn't care any of this fight world. She's like, wait, I know Brendan. He was on Bravo. Like that's how she knows you, It's crazy.
Dude, I was on Bravo for a hot second doing the pre and post shows for like the Grammys, the Oscars, all that stuff, man. And I knew my time was coming to an end because, they brought me on and these celebrities, they look ridiculous and they're walking the red carpet and we're live, dude. And I'm just lighting these dudes. I'm lighting the guys up. I'm lighting the girls up, just having fun, like roasting them. Because at the time also I was doing King the Sting with Theo Vaughn, which was an all roast show. So that was like my pattern. I was just like roasting people every Tuesday, Thursday. And I got on E, and when you roast, who was it? It was like Little Zany X, where the hell those guys are, and he was just like sad, and I just like lit him up, and then the producer in my ear like, dude, you gotta back off. I'm like, I can't. And then Lady Gaga walks down the aisle, and she has like 14 people holding her dress. I'm making fun of her, and at the end, the producer was just like, I think we're good, man. I think we're good. And I was like, oh, I won't be back. And yeah.
Dude, you know how many, Brendan, I swear to you, I got so many messages about our commentary together. And they're like, I've never heard anything like it. It was almost a half, comedian show up there. We remember we were talking about the music, people coming in, 10, 9, and 8 people in the music. But honestly, I loved it. And I heard, from the bosses above, they loved it. And it was different. It was us, right? It wasn't just the vanilla and that you hear other stuff. But like I said,
but you know what it is, like with all that stuff, like I've worked with so many people, but when it comes to that commentary team, the reason why Rogan, Anik, and DC are by far the best, like bar none, hands down the best of all time, is because there's chemistry there and they're friends. So you and I we knew each other, but we haven't worked together. So I was getting nervous because if you don't like gel with somebody, then I'll just go into the X's and O's and it's going to be pretty boring. But if I feel comfortable where I can mess around and get kind of silly and know you're going to cover your bases, dude, then we're cooking. We're cooking, dude. So I had so much fun, man. I had so much damn fun.
Yeah. Likewise. You remember you cooked my watch. I remember that to this day, brother. Cooked it.
I owe you a watch, man. I told you, I said, I got to get you a new watch, dude. I owe you a watch, bro. I owe you a watch.
Gotcha.
I got it, man.
Gotcha. All right. Let's get into it. UFC 314. Of course, I listened to your stuff. I watched it this morning. So a lot of it I know, but a lot of it I want to bring to the Fight Bananas crew here. I know Volkanovski won the championship, reclaimed featherweight goatness if you want to, and won the main event. Still, with that being said, it was the Paddy Pimblett show. Paddy Pimblett stole the show all week, and we've talked about it off air too. I see all the analytics of everything we do in Fightman as Paddy Pimblett 4-1 Alexander Volkanovski all week long. It was his week, his show. Even with getting the stoppage on Michael Chandler, I thought Paddy Pimblett stole the show. What do you think, and what's next for Paddy?
Yeah, I think no matter who you have on, unless it's like a Conor McGregor type, Paddy's going to steal the show. So, Tom Aspinall is a big name over there in England, and people think he's the face of kind of Europe right now, and I disagree. There's no one for him to fight. Even if he fights John Jones, after that, it's kind of there's no one for him to fight. So I think Paddy's that guy. And right now with the UFC, they need stars, man. You're in the same business as I am. So it's like across the board, views and ratings are down, man. Because there's not that it factor where the casual fans are tuning in. The hardcores, they know exactly
they got us.
They're never leaving.
Right.
But in order to get those massive views, in order to get those crossovers, you got to have stars. And UFC has a real star problem right now. Paddy's that guy. I've interviewed everybody in the freaking world, and there's, Conor's a different animal. But take Conor out of this. When it comes to just, especially the current UFC roster, Paddy, I'm telling you, man, is a freaking superstar. This dude. I mean, when I interviewed him, he was probably 230 pounds. I mean, fatty Paddy. And he's a guy that even at that size, he just commands the room. He's so goddamn talented, man. He's so talented.
I couldn't agree more. With that being said,
not to mention, he has his haters. That's what you want.
You need that.
Yeah, Conor has that. John has that. All the stars has that. I don't know a lot of hate on Aspinall, and that's probably why he's not as big a star as he is because he's such a good person.
Great point.
But you want people to care. They're tuning in whether you lose or whether you win. It's a Floyd Mayweather effect. For Paddy, it's like you're on this climb with him. It's my favorite part of mixed martial arts. I think it's the best part of sports when you have a prospect and they're on this climb. And for Paddy, it's like the UFC is doing it right. They learned from their mistakes with Darren Till. They've learned from their mistakes with Sage Northcutt. So they're slowly building him up, and he's passing the test. And the naysayers like, he won't beat Bobby Green. He won't beat the King. And then he smokes him. Like, all right, well, he beat him. And then they go, he's an older guy. He loses all the time. Like, okay, here's Michael Chandler. Now he's a top 10 guy. He won't beat him. Dude, that wasn't even a competition. He beat the brakes off Charlie O. I mean, he beat the brakes off Michael Chandler way worse than Charlie O did. Way worse. So to me, I love when guys are passing these tests. If you remember, same thing with Conor McGregor. Same freaking thing. People are like, he won't beat this guy. Aldo got his number. Chad Mendes can wrestle. And he's
right. Mendes, yeah.
So it was always this. It was always this, he can't do it. He can't do it. Paddy's that guy, man. People need to get on board.
People forget, Brendan, I say this all the time. Everyone's like, Conor was gifted this, golden road to the title. He defeated Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway on the road. People forget that. They weren't those men then, but fight level they were. It was crazy time.
Not to mention Chad Mendes on short notice and had a torn meniscus and got taken down. Lost that first round, kept getting taken down. And people are like, this is the one. They knocked some boy out. No, you can't take it from. Listen, Conor has his issues now, but no.
It's wild. Like I said, I always listen to your stuff, always watch your stuff. And I know for us too, like you said, we're in, the business of watching, clicking and posting. Conor's always great for that. But I for the last 6 months, I think ever since the Chandler and then a little bit even after that, I thought, but everything he's doing over there in bare knuckle, I'm like, this guy's never coming back, Brendan. He's never coming back. He's going to be president, I think. He's never coming back to us. I don't think he is ever.
I know, and I can't tell if my bias is hanging on to that, but I also think there's a chance, and Paddy's that guy that I think he would take the chance on. Now the plan was for him to fight an older Michael Chandler like Paddy did, right? And Chandler wasted 2 years of his prime in that, or whatever he had left of his prime, wasted waiting around for Conor because that's the big payday. So that's how that was supposed to go, and Conor probably beats that Chandler that showed up last Saturday night.
Yeah, I agree.
But now there's a glitch in the video game. You got this Paddy Pimblett in there, and Paddy's this guy where even the fans do this. They're not giving Paddy credit. So I think for Conor, he goes, hold up. This is the new kid. This is the one everybody's ranting and raving about. I can beat that guy. And he probably can't. He's in for a real surprise. But I think that type of personality will get Conor to maybe get his shit together and fight him. I'm hoping. I've been saying this for 2 years, dude. I'm hoping. I don't know.
Yeah. It'll be the biggest fight in the game for sure. A couple little things off the UFC, and we'll get right back in there. And I know you got to run in a little bit. You got another show to do. Everything that you do outside, of course, you were UFC heavyweight, did it all right. But now you're on this side of everything. Yeah. Commentary, podcast, and everything you've done, stage and shows and watch-alongs with Rogan and all that. What is your absolute favorite? If you said, hey, I can just do that one, make $1 gazillion, I can do the truck stuff, I can see baseball on the weekend. If you had just to pick one, what is that one?
It'd be a toss-up between the Companions with Rogan. The Companions are so much fun. It's just like the boys hanging out. Companions with Eddie, Brian, and Rogan, like the original OG crew. That's probably my favorite thing to do. And then Fighter and the Kid, like, whether the Fighter Kid makes money or not, I do that for life. Like, it's just, it's my comfort zone. And then the Shop Show's been around over 10 years. Like, I love just ranting into the camera, but I don't think much would change if, let's say Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk was like, here's $1 billion, you're a cool guy. Like, I'd still do podcasts and what I'm doing now,
Yeah. Gotta stay busy. I kind of feel the same way. We had a watch along Saturday. We had our guy Grant Dawson in the studio. We just had the best time. It was just, the boys hanging around, watching fights. We were joking. Grant had this line. I'm telling you, we posted it, Brendan. It's up your alley. Another guy, our guy, Coach Mike, asked Grant, he goes, how tall is Paddy? And like Mike's like, I think he was 5'11". And then Grant looks at him and he goes, on Tinder, it said 5'11 and a half. It was so good.
That's great.
That's on the fly.
And then when Rogan moved to Austin, I stayed here. He was like, dude, I'm so busy. He was like, I'm so busy. Why don't you do the Companions yourself? And I was like, yeah, sure. That's easy. But it drained me, man. It drained me. It's right when I launched Thick Boy. I had 6 different shows. I doubled down everything. I was booking all these guests, and it just took the fun out of it. So I think one of the reasons I liked when I worked for Showtime. I liked when I worked for Fox. There's pros and cons, right? I liked when when I can just show up to Rogan's in Austin and it's plug and play, and Jamie's ready to go. You got Eddie there, we got Brian there. I know what they're going to add. I don't have to carry the show. When I started doing it myself, it took the fun away from it. So I kind of just stopped doing it. Same thing with Food Truck. I did Food Truck for 6 years.
Yeah, for a minute.
I did it for a hot second. I owned all the IP. So when I left Showtime, I was like, I'll just keep doing it. But then I have to book everything. And then I found myself kind of waking up the morning when I had to have Food Truck and it's like, damn, again? So I stopped doing that. I've done it for so long, and I was like, what? I'm just too comfortable. So I just shut it down, man. I shut it down.
A question I would love to pick your brain about with us doing, the Game Break commentary and everything that happened. I know you were going to do stuff for the GFL. Like I said, we kind of talked a little bit of off air about that. Yeah. Mike Perry's thing, Dirty Boxing, PFL, Jake. What's your 2 cents? What does one of these brands outside the juggernaut of the UFC, what does one of these brands need to do to get it right and to be semi number 2? What does one thing need to do?
Out of all those names you listed, the only one I would invest in would be Jake Paul because it's so different than the UFC. The rest of these are just knockoff versions of the UFC, and they're trying their best to mimic the UFC. And you're just not going to win that battle, man. It's like coming out with a new brand of cola. You got Coca-Cola, dude. You're not going to be Coca-Cola. So it has to be something so different that the UFC doesn't, with Jake Paul, what he's doing and fighting these guys, like it's so different than the UFC. That's going to draw way more attention. So Jake Paul's doing it right. Listen, with the GFL stuff, like even you texted me like, hey man, you think this is gonna, they're gonna, have events throughout the whole year? And I don't know. They told me, before I do anything, my manager's like, let me see the funding, all that. And they had funding. I got paid, So I never assume these things are going to go go through. It's just I've been in the game too long. So I'm like,
Yeah.
so when I got the news, I'm like, that makes sense. That makes sense because it's so up and down. The fight game's so damn tough. And I think from being in the fight game with, working at Mask Square Garden with Showtime, for Bellator, for Game Bread, for all these different fight promotions, you realize that the amount of respect you should have for the UFC should be tenfold. What they're doing, I know they're the big dogs, so they get all the hate, but they're the only combat promotion to ever make a profit. They're the only one to actually work out. So hats off to Dana and that crew, man. It's wild what they do.
For sure. Like I said, here's a good one. Real ones, remember, it was the Big Brown Breakdown before the Below the Belt and Schaub show. The real ones.
Right.
I love it.
I love it.
That's my little bro, man. Last one for you. I know you got to run, and you kind of mentioned it earlier. And maybe I showed you this little note before we went on. What can the UFC do about the star power? We got Ian Gary right in a week and a half in Kansas City on short notice again, but a tough matchup. We got Paddy, but pretty soon, right? Poirier's last fight's in 2.5 months. John Jones's last fight's happening sooner or later. Connor's never coming back. What does the UFC need to do? How do they create new stars? Sugar Sean O'Malley's fighting Marab again. That's not great.
That's not good.
I know that's not good. What do they need to do to get another star or two?
I think all major leagues like NFL, MLB, NBA go through this. Like when Jordan retired and Magic retired and Bird, like that whole class retired, everyone's like, oh, they're cooked, they're screwed. With NFL, Tom Brady retires or whoever it is, Barry Sanders, like, oh, they're done. Not really, man. So they'll figure it out. What I would like to see happen, it's a double-edged sword because I think they need to cut down with the 43 shows, back it up and make more quality cards. Yes. And build these stars because it's so spread out. It's so kind of watered down now. It's tough to make stars. They need to go back to what they were doing. And maybe there's a middle ground there with instead of 43, maybe it's 30, but the cards are better quality. Now, I love having a fight every weekend. I watch it all from the prelims, but I'm different. But I think in order for them to establish these stars, don't have as many, man. You don't need to sign every guy off the Contender Series and then boost them to the top because fans aren't grabbing a hold of them, I think they just need to dial it back a little bit. Now that might mean less money, so it might not make sense business-wise for them.
And like I said, I don't want to reiterate something you already said, but it's wild. We look at the UFC 315 card. We're going to call a spade here. It's a bad card. It's a horrible pay-per-view. Terrible. And I've been saying it. I know the fight nights, they're free on ESPN Plus for now, right? They should clean up some of the fight nights, put some of the younger guys. Ian Gary should never be on a fight night. Like that man, how about if Ian Gary and Prates was on UFC 315? Now we're cooking a little bit. It's like we take so much talent. We put them on fight nights, even co-main events. Sometimes their fight nights are pretty solid. And then on the pay-per-views, like 315, it's horrific. It's a bad show, period.
Yeah, it's frustrating. 315 is so bad, man. 315 is so atrocious. And I didn't, I was so hyped about 314. And my producer, I'm like, bring up 315, Brad. I'm like, holy shit. That's the worst pay-per-view I've seen in a hot second, man. Yeah, that is bad.
The funny thing is, you ready for this? It's going to be even worse for you, B. You had Gilbert Burns and Michael Morales on that. They took that fight off the card. That's main event in the fight night 2 weeks later. There you go.
The UFC just kind of like that because it's almost the NFL where the brand is the kind of the attraction now. The Shield. I think they're off on that. I don't think the UFC's there. Now their numbers might beg to differ, but I've seen some stuff and numbers are down. So let's figure it out here. You can't keep just being like, no, we'll just give people whatever they want. They keep paying for it. It's not true. And when it comes to when they're go the gate with the biggest it's ever been in Miami. That's all bullshit. So when they say the gate, when they say UFC 314 biggest gate ever, no. They actually sold less tickets than last time, but the prices have gone up. Inflation of the ticket has gone up. Right. So they might have sold less tickets, but the amount of ticket prices has gone up significantly. Right. So when they keep going, we set record gate, President's here, all this, it's all bullshit. They're actually selling less tickets. It's just more expensive tickets.
Crazy. Hey, you got baseball this weekend? You got the playoffs start for you?
No, not yet. We got baseball playoffs starting in 2 weeks, but that's a rec league, and that team's terrible. I don't. Last game, my son, I told him, he goes, "What's the goal today?" I go, "No hitter, dude. Yeah, at rec league, you have to throw no hitter." Okay. So he's throwing a no hitter, and people are like, "Oh, no hitter." Listen, it's rec, so they usually pitch about 3 to 4 innings.
3 to 4. I'm in it.
Yeah, he pitched 4. He had a no hitter to the 4th inning, and then this kid, the ball just went through his legs, and he looks at me. He's like, all pissed. I go, "Well, that still counts, dude." Yeah. And so and then a kid hits a pop fly. Kid dropped that. I'm like, all right, bro, that's not a no hitter. But that team's screwed, and so it's a horrible loss, right? We win the whole game, then they lose because the kids make mistakes. And the coach goes, "Coach Schaub, you got anything to say?" And I was trying to be serious. I go, "We're still in the playoffs." And I started laughing, and then the parents are laughing. I'm like, "Yeah, we're still in the playoffs, baby." And you just tell the parents, like, "Dude, get out of here." But travel ball, we have our first tournament on Friday, and that's big boy ball. So that's big boy.
And Brian, I know you got to run. All
right, brother, you're fine. I got a while.
Well, okay. When did the whole Austin thing come about? Like we talked a little bit about it off air. Was this major plan for a long time, or was it like, I remember you were like, "Hey, Brian, you got to go there. Like you got to be there. You're being a good guy, good friend, good brother, right? You're like, you got to go." Did you think in the back of your mind you were going to go? Like, how did dude, I got 4 kids. I can't move across the city without being a 2-year plan. You know what I mean? Like, how'd you get this done, brother?
I know. It started with the fires. Like, so if you don't know the way LA works, so think of a mountain like this. Yeah. Palisades is here, and I'm on the other side of the mountain. The only thing that separates us is the mountain. Yeah. So when the fires hit, the fires everyone I'm sure heard about, there's all these fire trucks around my neighborhood, like everywhere. And one of the fire truck guys recognized me. I'm talking to him, and he goes, "Buddy, get your kids out." I go, "Really?" I go, "But we're good here." He goes, "You're not." He goes, "Because we're here because if those winds change 2 miles an hour this way, you're the Palisades." Yeah. He was like, don't wait for the government to tell you to get your kids out." So we dipped out, power shut down. We were shut down for 2 weeks, living with my mother-in-law. And my wife, I wanted to move during the pandemic. I was so sick of LA in the pandemic. Right. And that's when all my guys moved. And my wife just wasn't having it. She's from here. Her family's here. So she wasn't having it. Then the fire, she looked at me and was like, "Let's get the hell out of here." I'm like, "Really?" She was like, "Yep." So I put the house up the next day for sale. The other house was up for sale. And then when those sold, I'm like, "Oh, shit, it's getting real." And then for me, it got real when I had to shut down my fish tanks on Saturday. I was like, "Oh, shit, I'm really leaving, man." So I think it's just time. I think it's good for the kids, for them to see a little bit of adjustment. Everyone's a little too comfortable. Okay. And it's just whenever I make these big moves, it always works out. So I think it's good. And in regards to Callan, comedy in LA is pretty dead. It used to be the golden age. It used to be especially 2018, 2019, especially when I got into comedy, like 2016 to 2019 was like the golden age of the comedy store. All that's gone. It's all spread out. COVID kind of messed everything up. Cancellation culture messed everything up. So the comedy store is not really pop anymore. So for Callan, he just became kind of this road comic, and he's on his own. He's not around, his peers and stuff like that. So I told him he needs to move, and he's like, "Oh, I agree with you." And then when the fires happened, I told him, I said, "I'm leaving, dude. I'm leaving." And he's like, "Serious?" I'm like, "I'm leaving, bud. I'm leaving. I think you should come." But he has kids here. He has family house here. I go, "I don't put any pressure on you, but I'm out." Yeah. So he was just like, "All right, I'm coming with you." Yeah. And, Brian's crazy ass. We went out before we did the companion. We came out like 2 days earlier. And I do my homework. I went through all the neighborhoods. I looked at probably 30 homes and still didn't make a decision. I had to go back the following week. Brian, first house he looks at, doesn't even tell me, bought the house. Doesn't tell me. And like 2 weeks later, he's like, "Oh, yeah, man, Austin's great." I'm like, "What the fuck you mean?" He's like, "Oh, I moved." I'm like, "Oh, my God, dude, I got to go to the studio still." He's like, "Really?" He's like, "How long is that going to take?" I'm like, "Right to May, dude."
Yeah. It takes a minute.
And he's going back and forth. So, it's a big move, man, but I think it'd be good for us.
I love it, man. Hey, B, always appreciate you. Appreciate your time. I'm still staying true. 2027, the No BS show. Okay, that stuff's coming. B.
Let me know, brother. Let me know, man. I love that. That'd be fun,
I'm flying from Daytona to Austin. I'll be home. I'll tell the wife and kids I'll be home the next night. No BS.
Yeah, get it done, man. Let me know, brother.
Awesome, brother. You're the man. Talk to you soon. All right.
Talk soon.
All right. Be Schaub, guys. All right. Let's bring in L. Dawson. What's up?